Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michaela. I'm doing a live stream today, and it's been a little while. I've been doing recorded videos, and I could have made a recorded video, but I wanted this. It's not that when doing recorded videos as of late, I have been editing out things far more than I used to, and I think a change in sort of what I want to consume as content, and therefore that changed what I want to create as content. And by doing this as a live stream, I can't edit myself, which is a purposeful choice here. Because today I wanted to talk about identity and representation on YouTube, but also booktube and in literature, because that's my niche. That's what we make videos about. So obviously that's what I know and what I'm going to talk about. Those of you who follow my social media might have seen me tweet out a thing and post an Instagram post where I was kind of unsure whether or not I should do the LGBTQIA plus book tag here on YouTube. And for those of you who don't know, because I don't think it's obvious and I don't talk about it a super lot. I do talk about it when it's relevant, but I don't like champion it. I guess I should talk about my identity. I identify as a cisgender white female, but I also identify as demisexual, which is on the asexual spectrum. And that doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's also not super like forward-facing apparent. It's not part of my identity that I really like push. And not even about pushing, but like I have a boyfriend who I live with. I am straight passing, and I was worried that if I were to do this tag, because it is so much focused on like allowing LGBTQ folks to find each other, that it would feel like an outsider is talking at them about stuff, trying to be part of the group, which is how I feel a lot. And while A is in there in the LGBTQIA plus, and I technically belong within the group, I don't think that we belong within that group. I don't think that we are quite as accepted or even visible. Which is a thing, and the ace erasure thing is a thing, but that's not sort of what I'm talking about. I just feel like when people talk about LGBTQ, they're really talking about LGB, not the extras that get tacked on the end of just like, you're not straight, so join our group. And part of that has to do with like, even I didn't learn that my identity was an identity until college. High school sex ed at my school was good enough to talk about gay and bisexual, if I'm not wrong, as options. But ace was never an option. It was, you are teenagers, and when you want to have sex, because you will do it, here's how to do it safely. And as somebody who for a very long time felt broken because I didn't want to and would actually do things I was very not comfortable with because I was afraid that like I just didn't realize that I actually did want to, and like I was like misreading my own like impulses or something. I don't know. It's hard. Being a teenager is hard. Being an adult is still hard because I do still have flare-ups of that feeling of like, I am broken because this person who loves me wants to do this thing, and I am actually grossed out by it more times than I am not grossed out by it. And it's not his fault, and it's not my fault. It's just how I'm wired. But like, that's the sort of thing of like, the default is you will want to with A, B, C. There is not really a discussion about the you don't want to aspect of it. But it's there. And the thing with that book tag is a lot of it was discussing like where you first saw that representation in just society, whether it be film or books. And the first time that I actively saw it was last month when we read Every Heart a Doorway, which had an ace protagonist. And I'm going to be 24 in a couple months, so 23, I guess, when I read it. And it just, like, that feels weird, but I also don't know, like, there's no way to know if characters who never had any sort of romance plot were ace. Like, unless they explicitly talk about it at some point, and they're never protagonists. They might be tertiary characters. There may have been characters in like TV or film that I watched that one of the character did talk about being ace, and I just am not remembering it because it was not a focus. It was not really, it didn't really matter to folks, I guess. I don't know. There's no, it's an anti-plot of like, here's a romance plot where then the character goes, haha, I do not want to have the sex. Like, it doesn't work as a traditional plot point how to have that, unless you're reading, I guess, a YA coming of age novel where somebody would be exploring that. But in the stuff that I traditionally read, which are adult fiction, there's no real reason to have that be a plot point. If any of you guys have read something that has ace folks in it more predominantly, please send it my way so that I can see how they're doing it, because I'm not even sure how it would be done properly. I don't know. I guess I don't know. So yeah, there's this weird thing of where I do not feel like I fit within the LGBTQ community, despite being part of that, partially because I pass as straight, but also partially just because I'm not, my identity does not feel congruous with that. It feels separate from that, and like it should be its own group and distinct. And then also because I identify as demi and I do things that most asexuals would be like, that's not ace. It adds another layer of not fitting in. Oh, it's an A plus environment to be in, I feel like. So yeah, there's a lot of representation on here for most identities, mine being a very small niche identity that doesn't feel like something that I need to bring up. So the content that I make doesn't focus there. And part of that might be because I, again, don't have any content to talk about. I don't have something to be like, hey, they just came out with a new ace book. Here, let me talk about it. I read it and here's what I have to do. There's like obviously like a swath of straight romance and a slowly growing section of LGBTQ stuff that has to do with lesbian and gay stuff. There's a slowly growing section of transgender stuff, but I'm not really seeing a lot of ace stuff anywhere. And that goes back to the ace erasure thing of like, how do you write an ace plot? What would you do? And Shannon McGuire did a good job of it in Every Heart a Doorway, I think. It came up as sort of an awkward human thing, and her like the allegorical nature of her story in itself also led to that of feeling like an outsider among outsiders. So if you are ace and you are watching this and you're like, I didn't know about Every Heart a Doorway, that's a good one to go look at. I think because the message of the book as a whole, but also because the character is ace protagonist, so you're like in her head and sort of hear her thinking and why she feels the way she does. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I have. And so I don't know. I might still do the tag because I was thinking about it, but I'm still not super comfortable doing it. But I wanted to do something to sort of talk about this. And I feel like if I had to edit this video, I would just not post it. That's part of the reason why I didn't do anything last week. So we're doing it live, and now I can't. I mean, I could still delete it, I guess, but I'm probably just going to leave this up and never watch it again. If I'll look at the comments, but I don't think I'm going to watch myself talk about this and like walk around in a circle fumbling over myself like this. Yeah, I'm asking you guys, I guess, if you have any content that would enlighten me or that I just don't have access to. There's no ace section of any bookstore. There is a queer section of most bookstores. There's even transgender studies sections. I don't think there's an ace section anywhere. It's not, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't have anything there to point to, really, and that's frustrating, I guess, and also probably lends itself to the not recognizing myself as an identity and not being taught about that identity, or even if it is taught, it being like a sidebar. Like it's always like this thing, but nobody ever like talks about that. If you guys have any ace YouTubers that talk about that also, that would be an interesting thing to look at, that I would appreciate. Yeah, I think that's all that I sort of wanted to talk about. It doesn't show up often, if at all. I'm not sure I would understand how to incorporate it into any sort of story, even if it was there, or how it would be identified, unless it's like a major plot event. And again, I don't like reading YA, so I'm not sure that I would, or most of the time I don't like reading YA, like straight YA fiction, so I'm not sure that I would want to read a coming of age story. Like I'm past that point in my life, so I don't really want to have that be the only place that I can see something like that. Yeah. Gretchen and I are going to do possibly our book club episode. No, I think it is decided. Our book club episode for Bibliomancy for Beginners is going to be tomorrow morning instead of Wednesday night. And that's just because Gretchen's parents are coming down, so she asked if we could move it to tomorrow morning. We're going to be talking about The Hate You Give. So if you, again, reading YA stuff, but a good one at this time. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. So you'll see us again tomorrow, and then she'll be back on Friday with something else. I hope you guys are having okay lives. I hope you're not sort of struggling with the same sort of thing that I am here. Yeah, let me know what you think. Add to the discussion about this down below if you can, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.